It started, innocently enough, with a butterfly. Not a real one, obviously. A tattoo. A vibrant, intricate butterfly that landed right above Sarah's left hip. I remembered the day she got it. We were celebrating our first anniversary, a bit tipsy on cheap prosecco in a dingy seaside bar. I'd always been a sucker for Sarah, for her impulsive spirit and her wild, curly hair that always seemed to defy gravity. That day, she was particularly radiant, her eyes sparkling with mischief as she declared she was getting inked. I, ever the pragmatic one, had raised an eyebrow. A tattoo? Seriously? You'll regret it in 10 years. She just laughed, that infectious, throaty laugh that could melt glaciers. Don't be such an old man, Mark. Life's too short for regrets. And off she went, disappearing into the back room of a tattoo parlor run by a guy who looked like he hadn't seen the sun in years. She emerged an hour later, beaming, the butterfly already a part of her. For the next few years, the butterfly was just there. A pretty adornment, a reminder of a happy day. It only saw the light of day during summer holidays or particularly intimate moments. Life went on. We got married, bought a small house in the suburbs, and settled into a comfortable routine. Sarah worked as a primary school teacher, and I was a software engineer. We were happy, or so I thought. Then came the Bulgarian banker. Her name was Anya Petrova. I met her at a tech conference in Berlin. Anya was tall, striking, with piercing blue eyes and an air of quiet confidence that drew people to her like moths to a flame. She was brilliant, her knowledge of cybersecurity surpassing even mine. We spent hours discussing algorithms, encryption protocols, and the ever-present threat of cyber warfare. There was an undeniable connection between us. A spark, a forbidden energy that crackled in the air whenever we were together. I tried to ignore it, to push it down, but it was like trying to hold back the tide. Anya invited me to dinner. I knew I shouldn't go. I knew it was wrong. But I went anyway. One dinner led to another, then to late-night drinks, then to whispered conversations in dimly lit bars. It wasn't long before the inevitable happened. The guilt was suffocating. I was betraying Sarah, the woman I loved, the woman I had promised to cherish and protect. I knew I had to end it, but ending it was harder than I imagined. Anya was persuasive. She had a way of making me feel alive, of making me believe that I was capable of more, that I deserved more than the quiet, predictable life I had built with Sarah. One night, after a particularly intense conversation about the future of cryptocurrency, Anya casually mentioned something that made my blood run cold. You know, she said, swirling the wine in her glass, that butterfly tattoo Sarah has? It's interesting. Interesting? What do you mean? I asked, my voice tight. She smiled, a knowing, almost predatory smile. It's a marker. A key. I stared at her, bewildered. A key? What are you talking about? Anya leaned closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. Sarah isn't who you think she is, Mark. That butterfly, it unlocks a world you wouldn't believe. She went on to explain that Sarah, my Sarah, the woman I thought I knew, was involved in something far more dangerous than I could ever comprehend. She was, according to Anya, a highly skilled courier, transporting encrypted data and sensitive information for a shadowy network of international criminals. The butterfly tattoo, Anya claimed, was a cipher, a complex code that concealed vital information within its intricate design. It was the key to unlocking a vast fortune hidden in offshore accounts, a fortune built on illicit activities and dangerous secrets. I didn't believe her. I couldn't. Sarah, a criminal? It was absurd, ridiculous, impossible. But then, doubts began to creep in. There were things about Sarah that I had never been able to explain. The sudden trips she took, always shrouded in secrecy. The burner phone she kept hidden in the back of her closet. The unusual sums of cash she occasionally had on hand, explaining them away as lucky poker wins. Anya offered to show me proof. She had access to encrypted files, she said, files that would expose Sarah's true identity and the nature of her activities. All she needed was the precise configuration of the butterfly tattoo. I was torn. I loved Sarah, but the thought that she had been lying to me for years, that she was involved in something dangerous and illegal, was unbearable. I made a choice. A terrible, selfish choice. I agreed to help Anya. That night, while Sarah was sleeping, I took a picture of her tattoo. The quality wasn't great, but it was enough for Anya. She sent it to her contacts, and within hours, she had decrypted the hidden message. The message was a set of coordinates, a series of numbers that pointed to a specific location. A location in Bulgaria. Anya insisted that we go there immediately. She believed that the hidden fortune was within our grasp. She painted a picture of a life of wealth and luxury, a life free from the constraints of our mundane existence. I knew it was wrong. I knew I was crossing a line I could never uncross. But I was too far gone. The allure of the unknown, the thrill of the chase, had completely consumed me. We flew to Bulgaria. Anya had connections, people who could help us navigate the murky underworld of Sofia. We rented a car and drove for hours, following the coordinates until we reached a remote village nestled in the foothills of the Balkan Mountains. The coordinates led us to an abandoned farmhouse. The place was derelict, overgrown with weeds, and eerily silent. As we approached, I felt a growing sense of unease. This wasn't right. This wasn't how it was supposed to be. Inside the farmhouse, we found a hidden cellar. The air was thick with the smell of damp earth and decay. Anya, her eyes shining with excitement, pulled out a flashlight and shone it around the room. The cellar was empty, except for one thing. In the center of the room, hanging from a single hook in the ceiling, was Sarah. She was tied up, gagged, and bruised. Her eyes were wide with terror. I rushed to her side, frantically trying to untie her. "Sarah, what happened? Who did this?" Before she could answer, Anya raised her hand. In her hand, she held a gun. "I'm sorry, Mark," she said, her voice cold and emotionless. "But you've served your purpose." It turned out that Anya wasn't a cybersecurity expert, or a concerned citizen trying to expose a criminal organization. She was a rival operative, working for a different faction, trying to steal the same information that Sarah was protecting. The butterfly tattoo wasn't just a key to a fortune. It was a map to a network of safe houses, a list of encrypted accounts, and the identities of dozens of undercover agents. It was a treasure trove of intelligence that could cripple international criminal organizations. Sarah was never a criminal. She was an undercover agent, working to dismantle these organizations from the inside. And I, in my foolishness and selfishness, had betrayed her. Anya planned to kill us both, to take the information and disappear. But she underestimated Sarah. Even tied up and gagged, Sarah was a formidable opponent. With a sudden burst of strength, she managed to kick out one of the supports holding up the dilapidated table beside her. The table collapsed, sending splinters of wood flying. One of those splinters struck Anya in the face, momentarily stunning her. That was all the opportunity Sarah needed. She thrashed against her bonds, finally managing to loosen them enough to slip free. She lunged at Anya, disarming her and tackling her to the ground. A fierce struggle ensued. Anya was strong and ruthless, but Sarah was fighting for her life. I stood there, frozen, paralyzed by fear and guilt. I had caused all of this. I had almost gotten Sarah killed. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Sarah managed to subdue Anya. She tied her up with the same ropes that had been used to bind her. Then, she turned to me. Her eyes were filled with a mixture of anger, disappointment, and something else, something that looked a lot like pity. "Mark," she said, her voice trembling. "How could you?" I had no answer. I had betrayed her trust, endangered her life, and nearly destroyed everything we had built together. The police arrived soon after. Anya was arrested, and Sarah was taken to a safe house for debriefing. I was left standing in the abandoned farmhouse, surrounded by the wreckage of my shattered life. I never saw Sarah again. She disappeared into the shadows, back to her secret world. I knew that I had lost her forever. The butterfly tattoo is gone now. Sarah had it removed. I heard she was given a new identity, a new life, far away from me and the mess I had made. Sometimes, late at night, I wonder what she's doing, if she ever thinks of me. And I wonder if she ever regrets getting that butterfly tattoo. Because I know I'll regret it for the rest of my life. It was a beautiful symbol of our love, but it also became the instrument of our destruction. And it all started with a butterfly.